This is our destination today. It's an arch in the Goldfield Mountains. It's kind of a cool hike. Enjoy yourself as you explore and discover not only this gym, but all the gyms on the trail through the narrow canyons that we hiked on the entire way.
You'll recognize the Superstition Mountains as we're driving down this road, but we're actually not going to the Superstition Mountains today. We're actually going to take a left and head west into the Goldfield Mountains. We'll take this left and follow this paved road until it turns into dirt, and then follow the dirt until we get to a gated parking lot. The gate happens to be open today, so we'll go straight through it, but normally you'd have to get a permit and unlock the gate before you could go through it. We follow this road straight until we stop the truck. However, we do come to an intersection and we'll go straight through that intersection.
Welcome to Hidden Gems of Nature. We're in the parking lot. It's not really a parking lot, we're kind of where the road ends. The hike we're going on today, I'll pan around while I'm talking. The hike we're going on today can be approached from several different locations. Most people take a 9-mile hike in. I am just taking a 7-mile hike in and going through some different canyons to get to the destination because I want to explore and discover different canyons. So if you read about any of these hikes or this hike on the internet, it'll probably give you a different trail to get into it from. We'll hike down the road just about 100 yards, and that's where the road pretty much ends. Where we're parking is actually a spring. As you can see, there's water down in the wash, and it's on the USGS maps, it's actually designated as a spring. So you should be able to find it fairly easy. As we're hiking down the canyon, the sun's rising. You can see the sun shining on the opposite canyon walls. Really quite spectacular sunrise as we're enjoying the sunrise and the cliffs and rock features along this canyon as we're hiking in the Goldfield Mountains. We're hiking down the canyon. This little side canyon appears. I think we'll go and explore and discover. This is that little side trail we saw as we were hiking. You can see behind me the little erosion cave that I'm standing in, little hollow. Kind of cool. Nice little hidden gem as we're hiking down this trail. And then across from me, and I'll flip the camera around so you can see it, across from me is another little erosion cave. That's the cave I was just standing in, and then across from it is this smaller opening that looks like it has quite a seep that runs through it. As we're hiking down the canyon, the whole east side of the canyon has a rock face that's actually kind of pretty, has a lot of little formations on it. So I thought I'd pan across that rock face so you can take a look at it and see some of the formations that are on that rock face. I'll take some closer up shots for some of the other features that are kind of unique and interesting to look at. So we're about at the end of the canyon that we're hiking down to meet into the main trail where most people hike to this destination. And if you look behind me, you can see we're in a real narrow section of this canyon. And I'll kind of video some of this narrow section. It's kind of a cool section, neat undercuts. Anyway, a lot of narrow sections of canyons have cool rock configurations, so I like to hike through these. Saw a couple of these on the map. That's one reason I chose this trail, or canyon anyway. It's not really a trail, but chose this canyon to hike down to meet in with the main canyon, or to meet in with the main trail, and then hike up to our destination. If you were on the main trail, you'd be at about the 3-mile mark where I will join that trail. If you're hiking in my direction or another direction, my direction, you're only about 2.5 miles, about 2.5 miles in on mine. And we're gonna go around one more little narrow section and then pop out onto the main trail. We came around the 2 narrow sections to meet in with the main canyon where the main trail is. And this is what we came around the corner to see. Nice pool that goes the breadth of this little narrow section. Kind of cool looking. If it was a hot summer day, I think we'd wait it, but it's the middle of February, so we'll walk around it. This is a look back at the section of canyon we just came through. You can see the reflection in the pool of the cliff to the west and the little narrow section back behind it. Kind of pretty down here in this canyon. So we're at the intersection of where my canyon joins the main trail. I'm going to kind of pan up so you can see my canyon behind me, and then you'll know what it looks like if you decide to go in that direction on your hike, or if you want to stay in the main canyon. The main canyon is directly behind me right now. These are the views you'll get as you come back from the destination.
You can also use this boulder, which stands about 10 to 12 feet high and sits in the middle of the wash, as a good landmark to know where to turn when you're going back to your car.
So walking down the trail, came across this rock with a interesting vein running through it. It's kind of cool looking vein. We've just come down a narrow section of the canyon. To the right you have a couple of pinnacles. Kind of cool. I'm panning around down the canyon. Lots of neat rock formations as you're coming down that big wall over there with the sun shining on it. Channel of water right down the middle. Kind of pretty down in here in the canyon. We're almost to the turnoff that will take us up to our destination. When you get to this section of the canyon, this is the intersection where you want to turn out of the main canyon and kind of head up and over. There's a small saddle behind me. I'll pan over to that saddle so that you can see it. It's directly behind me. There's kind of an interesting rock configuration up there, like a bent finger, and it's up through that channel that you'll go to get to our destination. This is the canyon we just came up. Can't really tell, there's a ridge line in front of it, but that would be the draw that we would be going up. We're up on the side of that draw, looking across the canyon at some of these configurations. Some cool monoliths on the other side. Anyway, we're almost to the saddle. The saddle is actually right there. We'll be there in probably 100 yards, maybe even less. I came around the corner of the saddle and met this other canyon that we get into. We drop down into this canyon, and as we look across, we can now see our destination. I'll zoom in on it so you can get a look at it. There's the destination. It's an archway. There's a couple of them down in here. So this is our destination today. We've hiked about 3.5 miles in. There's another hike that most people take that's about 4.5 miles in. I decided to go down some different canyons because I wanted to see some of the hidden gems in those narrower canyons. The main trail follows a road, and the terrain is a little bit more broad and open, and I prefer to be down in the canyons where there's lots more gems. So you can go on the hike that I went on and enjoy some of the hidden gems along the way. Or go on the other hike. Enjoy yourself as you explore and discover the hidden gems on this hike in the Goldfield Mountains.
I'm sitting at the base of the arch here, and as you pan up to the left, you can see what is another arch, or at least a leaning rock against the mountain. But it looks like an arch. It's kind of neat looking, standing here at the other arch. I'm going to pan across to the other side, and over in this lighter colored stone, there's what looks like another arch. You can see it there in the distance with the dark stone around it. After I spent some time at this arch, I went over there to look at it, and it actually isn't an arch, but it was still kind of cool to see. I'm standing right next to the arch. You can walk underneath this arch across from one side to the other. You can even step out to a rock that's a little bit lower and get some pictures up through the arch. The arch is about 20 feet across at the base, maybe 25. It's kind of cool that you're able to walk right up to the arch and walk underneath it and see it. Looking down through the arch, you can see how high we are up the mountain. This side is actually the side we're going to go out. The other side is the side we came in on, so we're going to see some additional gems as we hike out.
We're back down in the wash. You can see the arch right behind me. We can go back the way we came, upstream, and over the saddle and back down in, or we can go out a different direction, downstream. It's about an extra 4/10 of a mile to a half a mile. I think we're going to go downstream. After all, I do love to explore and discover, so let's go and explore and discover some more hidden gems on the way out. Join me. A lot of this canyon has some pretty deep grass in it. Kind of cool. Coming up belly deep for me. You can kind of see it there behind me as we're hiking. As I'm going down this different way, I came across these spillways and pools, a whole series of them. So I'm going down, neat rock formations. Just came down this spillway, kind of a cool looking little spillway as you come down through this canyon. Again, I'm going out a different way than I came in, so I get to see more rock features, more hidden gems. It's great coming down this way. Coming down some pretty narrow sections. Came to this section and all we have is a waterfall. So we'll try another way. Oh, here's a hole. About a 10-12 foot drop in it. You can't tell it's 10 or 12 feet from up here. Where's Noah when you need him? And you can see how big it is. We'll cross over and head down those boulders. Okay, so now I'm down in the hole. Not that that gives you any better depth perception, but at least you can see down underneath some of the erosion and back behind me, and we'll head out. Keep heading down the riverbed to join the main canyon. Another erosion cave as we're coming down the mountain. You know, these things are everywhere, but they're usually not this big. We're up off the bottom of the canyon floor, a good 20 feet.
As I'm trying to navigate my way through the canyon, I came across this slide rock. And of course, when you come to a slide rock, what do? You slide down it. So I slid down it and popped up to this rock. And as I looked over the rock, I realized it was impassable past this rock, as you can see. So now I had to turn around and go back up the slide rock. I was hoping it wasn't too slick and had enough footholds. Fortunately, it wasn't a smooth rock, so I was able to climb my way back up out of here and continue on with my hike. Hiking in these narrow canyons today, we saw lots of neat formations. It's a great hike for formations. Here's a chimney rock on our way out. Enjoy yourselves as you see all the gems on this hike in the Goldfield Mountains.